GameMaster role-playing starter paint set is back and better than ever because the paints inside have been completely reformulated using the new high coverage, high performance, and easy to use Fanatic formulation. On top of that, these paints have gone from their smaller 12ml bottles to our larger 18ml bottles. With more paint, better coverage, and 5 free models inside, you're not going to find a better value in the hobby industry. In this series, we're going to show you how to paint up each of the characters found inside the set. Today, let's paint Hjalgrum, our dwarf cleric. Or is it Hjalgrum? Or Hjalgrum? I'm not really sure, but Stefan's in the studio to show you how it's done, and we'll begin with a coat of our brush on primer. This is found inside the set. Apply this in one light coat, making sure you get complete coverage over the entire miniature, as this primer is what will allow the paints to adhere later on. Speaking of paint, let's use some rosy skin on our cleric's rosy cheeks and nose. And a really neat thing about these paints is that the colors inside have a color match from the broader Warpaints Fanatic range. So when you do inevitably run out, just check the label to find the corresponding color, head to your local game store, and find the matching replacement on the Warpaints Fanatic rack. In the case with this paint, Wildfire Orange is a color match to Burning Ore from the Fanatic range. Next, we'll use soft leather to paint in the wood grain on the back of the shield, the boots, and gloves. Now, the majority of this miniature will be in metallics, as he is a heavily armored cleric. We'll begin with plate mail metal, and here's a tip: if you're a beginner and new to painting, be sure to refill your rinse cup with clean water, or use a different cup altogether after painting with metallics. That way, you don't contaminate any future colors. Apply this metallic paint to all of the armored bits on the miniature, including the dwarf's mace. Next, we'll grab some chaotic black for the belts and straps on the miniature, being as neat as we can here. And if you do happen to paint a bit outside of the lines, don't fret. You can clean it up with a simple application of your previous color. We'll finish off the metallics with a bit of dwarf gold. This is aptly named for this character. You can see how smooth and easy these GameMaster paints cover in just one go. No matter what color you use, they all perform so well and apply so nice and smooth, and in many cases, most cases in fact, in just one coat, even the metallics. You can see that coverage here with a bit of neutral red that we're going to use on some of the more ornate details. Once that's done, you're ready to apply a wash. We're using Strong Tone here. It's found inside the set, and we're going to apply this liberally all over the miniature. A wash is designed to add depth and shading by reinforcing the details on the miniature. This paint is designed to add deep pigments into the shadowed areas, has a slightly longer drying time so you have time to work with the paints and the pigments, move them around, and make sure they're pooling exactly where you want them to. You will want to make absolutely sure that this wash is dry before moving on to the next stages, which are totally optional at this point because at this stage your miniature is tabletop ready. Good job. But if you would like to take it a step further, grab some of that dwarf gold for a base coat highlight. Now, a base coat highlight is when you use your base color after the wash step and redefine the raised details, which helps to clean up and brighten up the model. You can see Stefan doing here with Wildfire Orange on the beard and the striations of the hair, just applying this to the raised edges, leaving those darker pigments in the shaded areas completely untouched. You can see how this really adds to the contrast of the overall miniature as we apply the highlights. We will quickly repeat this process with neutral red, and we'll do the same thing for all of the silver armor, just brightening up that base color. You can see that the sheen of the metallic paint becomes even more apparent at this stage. Just take your time and be as neat as you can. We'll move on to the soft leather once again for all of the leather details, and use some of that brush on primer to highlight some of the cobbles here on the base. Now all you have to do is paint the rim of your base in the color of your choice. We're using chaotic black here, and you're done. To finish off your mini, use some tufts from our Battlefields range, and your cleric is ready to cast divine magic to heal and brawl its way through your next dungeon adventure. This GameMaster set is a great beginner set for anyone interested in tabletop RPGs, or a really fun way to gather a party of friends for some tabletop adventure. The paints inside are perfect for beginners and advanced painters alike who've leveled up their hobby dexterity. Be sure to stay tuned so you can see how the whole party of 5 is painted when you subscribe to the Army Painters YouTube channel, and be sure to look for these products and more at your friendly local game store, preferred online retailer, or at www.thearmypainter.com.